2, 1. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Conversing with Chris and Misa, the podcast. Today is April 10th. It is a Saturday morning here in El Paso, Texas. It is approximately 9:27 here in the AM. As always, guys, I'm joined by co-host of the podcast, Mr. Misa. Say what's up.
Yo, what I do.
Also, guys, producer chair today, Wes from Watch Out Loud is here. Wes, say what's up to the podcast, man.
What's up to the podcast, man?
Also, guys, for episode number 71, we have very special guests with us. Former UTEP basketball player, Mr. Gabriel McCulley is here with us. Say what's up to the podcast, Gabe.
What's going on, Mr. Gabe McCulley, checking in with Mr. Chris in the podcast here. I just want to thank you guys for giving me this opportunity. I feel fortunate again to be able to do this podcast with you guys. So, it's great to be here, and I'm honored.
Hell yeah! Give him a triple horn, Misa. Give him a triple horn for that. Thank you for spending some time with us on this Saturday morning. I know you're a busy guy. This is actually the first podcast we've ever done in the morning. We've done 70 episodes, guys. We've never done one in the morning. We had to make a special exception for our boy Gabe here.
Yes, sir.
So here we are. So thank you, everyone, for being here today. Give yourselves a round of applause. So I have a variety of drinks in front of me. I have water because it's early and I like water in the morning. I have iced coffee from Circle K because it's the best iced coffee on the market by far. Best price, best flavor, whatever. Don't at me. And I also have, guys, a tradition on this podcast.
Yeah, and
it sounds
a little change,
a little
tradition,
like this, and that's the cracking of the celebratory beer.
And I've got mimosas.
Wesley's got mimosas.
I wish there was a cork.
Right,
would have been great.
Yeah, that would have been good if it had a cork. So, anyways, guys, everybody, I'm gonna give you guys a cheers, Mr. Gabe. Thank you for being on again today. Like we said, we really appreciate it. I'm gonna indulge you guys really fast.
There's some ASMR.
There's nothing like a cold beer at 9:29 a.m. Anyways, guys.
Chris, I gotta say real quick, bro. I'm seriously in shock right now. I've never even seen you like with a water bottle in your hand.
Oh
right. No. I love water, dude. Water is the best thing to do in the morning.
Well, no, he drinks Bud Light, so he's always hydrated.
Wow, okay. Taking shots. Let's see. Okay. Anyways, guys, let's get into this podcast. Mr. McCulley, for the people who do not know who you are, obviously for the El Paso fans or the UTEP fans that are here in El Paso, they do know who you are because you were on a very successful UTEP team. We'll get into that in a little bit, but tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're currently at right now and what you're currently doing for work at the moment.
Of course, Gabe McCulley, basketball player there at UTEP, 2007 to 2012. Grew up here in Memphis. Finding basketball, finding out life, young kid, just trying to figure things out. Got an opportunity, scholarship actually to play at Arkansas State with Tony Matlock first. Tony Matlock ended up getting an assistant position over with Tony Barbie. And like you said, we'll go more into detail about it later. That's kind of how that happened. And it was history from there. Right now, currently in Memphis, directing at a nonprofit. It's called Memphis Athletic Ministries, and what we do there is just promote athletics through Christianity. Really, just trying to take care of the neighborhoods here in Memphis, giving back to the communities that are a little unfortunate, the kids that are unfortunate. A lot of for me. Again, I was able to get out and do some things to help me with my basketball career as far as selling candy and stuff like that. But a lot of these kids, they're not fortunate. They don't have the skills to do some of the things that we did. And so organizations like MAM are here in the city to kind of help them out and be that boost for unfortunate kids that have dreams of playing athletics and things of that nature. So that's kind of what I'm doing now. And, trying to see where that's going to take me. Again, that was me jumping back into sports. I've been off the court for a while, learning business off the court, but I took this opportunity with Memphis Athletic Ministries to get back into the game of sports and being able to do what I love and be around that and being in that environment.
Hell
It's
yeah.
awesome. Shout out to you for that, man.
Hell yeah,
for
dude.
real.
Give me a round of applause.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's always important to try to give back to your community, especially when you can help the people that are a little bit more unfortunate than you are. And it's nice to see that. And it's cool that you've gone back to Memphis. You were born there, right? But you also, did you spend like your entire life there?
I was born in Memphis. Born and raised, born and bred here in Memphis. Spent all of my life here. And decided I wanted to go all the way out to El Paso.
That's crazy.
Yeah, dude, that is crazy.
I feel like Gabe just saw a map and then like he threw like
A
a
dart.
dart in El Paso and he's like, I'm going.
That's something what I have with.
So growing up in high school, did you play any other sports besides basketball? Did you play football, baseball, soccer?
So growing up, I mainly, to be honest with you, just growing up, I mainly played basketball and football. Actually, football was my first love. I really wasn't thinking about playing basketball like that. But football was my first love. I was a more, physical guy. Because again, I had brothers. I had a lot of brothers. I had 7 brothers. So those guys, I was the baby out of the brothers. So I was always the one getting beat up on, terrorized and stuff like that. So the physicality, kind of carried over, kind of made me play football. And, but as I got into high school, I had a coach. I had a basketball coach that kind of took me under his arm. He would pick me up every day and take me to these, summer camps. All day we would leave there and go back to the high school and, do some stuff at the school. So I think that was kind of, just having that, having that coach to kind of push me in that direction of playing basketball kind of made me decide, well, hey, I think basketball, I'm a little bit better. And so, that's kind of then, being out there on that field and getting hit, and I didn't like being hit like that. So, it made my decision a little bit more easier for me to, choose basketball. Basketball, you're in a gym, there's maybe a little AC going on,
Hey.
physicality is not as bad as football.
Right. You're not outside sweating your ass off in full pads and getting your ass
It's a little different. Yeah, it's a little different. So that kind of helped my decision.
Right. When you were growing up playing football, did you play like wide receiver? I'm assuming you were tall, right?
So man, it's crazy. I played a little bit of everything. So I played at one point, I played quarterback. I had to keep running from the center to the sideline to get the plays. But I was kind of chunky when I was, younger. So I got tired. At one point I ran to the sideline, got a play, came back to the huddle and threw up. It was just too much, man. And, so for me, man, they moved me to, I was tight end, I was wide receiver, I was fullback. I play a little bit of everything on the football field.
He was a whole damn team, dude.
Yeah. That's what's up, dude. It's always good, especially like in high school, to be versatile so you can get on the field as much as you can.
Absolutely.
So then you end up sticking with basketball. And you said you had scholarships offers to Arkansas State, right? When does UTEP and the relationship with Tony Barbie, when does that come into play? Is that like your junior year, senior year?
So again, to be honest with you, man, I was a late bloomer. Again, I didn't have a lot of, what people don't understand is exposure is what gets you in the game. And so, I wasn't able to be exposed as far as AAU tournaments and stuff like that. When you're younger, you get in these AAU tournaments, that's when college coaches, have the opportunity to see you. Well, a lot of times to get on these AAU teams, man, you have to have the money. You have to have the money to take these trips and stuff, unless the coaches are gonna bag you, And so we had a lot of players on our team, man. I played with Randy Culpepper on the AAU team, Yeah. And so, we were a dynamic duo, him and a few other guys, on that AAU team. And so, like I said, I was a late bloomer. People started hearing about me on the AAU circuit, I would say the end of my 11th grade year, going to my 12th grade year. So a lot of kids, they're followed, I would say, from middle school, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th grade. again, nobody really started to hear about me until like my senior year. And I think, again, that was a lack of exposure, just with me not playing a lot of AAU basketball. And so Tony Matlock came to a tournament in Arkansas. Oh, no, I'm sorry, Nashville. Yep, we were at Lipscomb in Nashville. I had a big tournament there. Man, I think my stock kind of went crazy from there. Matlock was the first guy that talked to me, one-on-one and just told me, hey, man, I'm interested in you. I want to offer you an opportunity to come and play basketball at a D1 level. And I just, I respected that out of Coach Matlock. I'm big on loyalty. I started having other coaches kind of, dive in at me and, give me an opportunity, give me offers and stuff like that. But like I said, with Matlock being the first coach, to offer me, I said, man, I'm big on loyalty. He was from Memphis. I just felt like I related to Matlock. And so he ended up, he told me, Gabe, I want you at Arkansas State, right? I thought I was going to Arkansas State. Arkansas State's maybe an hour from Memphis. So I'm thinking, man, okay, I'm definitely considering it. One day I get a call and he say, hey, Gabe, I'm at UTEP.
What's that?
I threw a dart map as well.
Yeah, man. And when he said that, I'm thinking, UTEP, what the hell is UTEP? What? I've never heard of it, right? I'm thinking I've never heard of it. Okay, so what is that? So I get to looking it up. I do my research. D1. Okay. A lot of rocks, a lot of dirt. Okay. All the way out West Coast, thinking almost, Mexico, right?
Yep.
Okay. So, so in my head, I'm having all these thoughts of, man, I don't know if that's what I want to do. Matlock, you might be scratched off the list. That's what I'm thinking in my head.
I'm like the whole loyalty to no.
No,
Yeah.
Dude, well, yeah, I mean, because
tells me, man, he's like, man, you should come take a visit. Just come take a visit and, see how you like it.
right, dude, because if you think about the situation he was in. So he was already thinking Arkansas State, pretty close to home, an hour away. That's like a fucking good deal for college.
Yeah.
You're already going to go play basketball with somebody that you already have a relationship with. And then one day to the next, he's like, oh, yeah, by the way, we're going to do this shit 10 hours away across the country.
In the desert.
Almost in Mexico. And are you still down? And he's like, dude, what the fuck? Like, are you serious? Like, you promised me something totally different than that. What the fuck?
It's like looking at the final goal and you're like, oh, I'm almost there. It's so close. And then somebody's like, no, dude, it's in the other city.
Right. Yeah.
Like, yo, man, I literally had a verbal fight with my parents, choosing the school, because they wanted me close to home.
Right. And,
I thought about it. I prayed about it. And I said, no, man, El Paso, I think it's just going to be better for me, And again, like I said, they thought that I was crazy. My parents was like, oh, man, this kid's nuts, right? He's going to go all the way out here, just lose his mind, basically, And so, like I said, man, it was a jump for me, a big risk, just a lot of those things, to say the least. I just took a jump on loyalty and, just trusting Matlock and the visit is what really did it for me. Like when I really went on the visit and just felt the love of the El Paso community and the city, and just to see, it was different for me. It was just different for me, and I enjoyed it. And so it was easy for me to make that decision. When they had me there on the Hilton, there on campus.
Hey,
man, just watching all the beautiful young ladies walk by. I'm like, oh my God, this is not like Memphis. So, sign me up, sign me up.
That's what's up, dude.
He was probably like, dude, they have no trees here in El Paso, but they got a lot of women.
Yeah. So like, what are your initial thoughts? Like when you fly into El Paso and you get to the airport, like, what are you thinking? And then how does that kind of change once you get to the actual campus? Because when you come on a visit, obviously, I'm sure they're trying to sell the school. Obviously, that's what
right.
the recruiting visit is for. But UTEP, like visually, aesthetically, is a beautiful fucking campus. It looks really nice. It's settled in the mountains, so like it's really unique. So like, explain like what you were thinking at that point in time.
It like I said, man, it was just different for me. It was just different for me at that time. I was looking for something different. You know, when I got off the plane, you know,
He thought he was in a different country.
Yeah.
I thought I was in a different country, you know, but it was more so just the hospitality. You know, I really wasn't worried about the climate. I wasn't worried about the, you know, just the you know, the dirt, the rocks. It was more so, you know, making me feel home. You know, Matlock, he was there at the airport. I think it was a couple other players there. And so when I got off the plane, I really didn't pay attention to anything but being with my family, you know, and so they welcomed me in, you know, grabbed my backpack, you know, hey man, you know, it just felt like home, and they made it feel that way, and you know, you make people feel that way, you know, they're more, you know, prone to do whatever it is, you know, you're asking them to do, or whatever it is you want them to be, they're going to be there. So for me, it wasn't, you know, El Paso. It was more so just the loyalty and the family and the, you know, feeling at home. That brought me to El Paso. It was big. That getting off of that plane and feeling at home. I was like, yeah, I can do this.
That's what's up, dude. Yeah. That's cool because like a lot of people we talked to, like one of the Locomotives players, Cheeto and Toko, he came all the way from fucking Belgium to come play in El Paso, which is kind of crazy because, and for you, we'll talk a little bit about this later on. Like when you went to go play in overseas, like the change and the transition from one place to another, like is crazy. And even though you were in Memphis, like the culture, the environment, everything like changes. Like Memphis, I've never been there, but I can only imagine how much of a like culture shock it is coming from there and being in El Paso, right?
Oh, it's totally different. It's totally different, man. I'm at home now. Like I said, I've been here 5 years. And man, I'm ready to come home to El Paso.
Hey.
I miss you. You know, so it's like it's totally different, man. You know, it's like you said, the weather's different, the trees are different, the people are different, the food is different.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's a big difference in, you know, Memphis and El Paso. But what I will say is, you know, the hospitality isn't really different. You know, the love, the family oriented deal, you know, that isn't different. And so for me, you know, I said, man, it's a different feel, you know, overall on the surface, right? But it wasn't different for, you know, the hospitality part of it and the love. And so I think that's what kind of drew me to El Paso to kind of let me know, hey, this is where I need to be.
Oh yeah. When was the last time you were here?
Man, that's crazy. I haven't been to El Paso
since.
I would say it's been at least 5-6 years.
Oh shit! Damn.
Yeah. So I mean, I really need to get back out there.
Yo,
you know, I still talk to Randy. So you know.
Yeah, Randy's still out here. Randy's still out here. I see him on Facebook. El Paso's changed a lot, I would say. In the last 6 years, like
it's more of an Austin feel now.
Right.
They're definitely going for that.
Right. There's a lot of new construction everywhere. They've expanded I-10 a lot, especially by UTEP. That whole area has been like revamped. It's a lot more modern now. I think you would be surprised if you came back. I think you would actually be.
It feels more like a big city.
Right. You would probably be able to tell the vibe from UTEP back in the day in 2011 to what it is now. Cause now it's already been like 10 years.
Yeah.
So it's pretty crazy, but
there's still a lot of shitty drivers, dude.
No construction can fix that. So.
There's still terrible accidents on the freeway, people doing stupid shit in cars and vehicles. Yeah, so there's still all that. So I wanted to ask you, and I mentioned this to you before the podcast, how there is like this relationship between Coach Barbie, the city of Memphis, and getting a good grip of players to come and play at UTEP, which is kind of unique in a way because UTEP traditionally would recruit heavily in like Arizona, California, Texas. You wouldn't really see players being heavily recruited from Memphis, and then to see so many of them all at one time was interesting. So let's talk to us a little bit about that.
I think so. Barbie was the head assistant for John Calipari,
Right.
and he's still one of Calipari's staff members there in Kentucky. So Barbie has always been around. When like I said, when Cal took the job at Memphis, Barbie, I think he kind of fell in love with the players, the grind here in the city. Cal wasn't really recruiting Memphis players though. I think Cal recruited maybe a couple, but the way Cal recruited, he only recruited top 50, top 20 kids, and Memphis had a lot of talent, but at that time, I think it was so competitive as far as the talent. Cal was only going to grab the top, 5 out of the city and maybe offer maybe the top 3, and so that's kind of how it went. I think he only offered maybe my cousin Maurice Miller. I think at that time, Mo was ranked number 1. Randy was ranked number 2. I may have been ranked like number 8 or 9 or something like that in the city of Memphis. But like I said, Cal wasn't really recruiting out of Memphis that way. However, Barbie saw the talent that was here in Memphis. He was very aware. He was very aware of all the trainers and recent coaches, and hence Matlock, and guys of that sort. Milt Wagner, right, had been here in Memphis. Again, Mike Babel, all of those guys came from Memphis also. So Barbie was very aware of all the talent here. Memphis today is still a big mecca and big market for talent. And so, again, Barbie knew that. And it started, who did he first? I think I may have been the first recruit from Memphis that they really went after. It was strange because Randy, they were actually coming down to see me in a showcase here in Memphis, but I got injured. I had injured my ankle stepping in a pothole. And they ended up seeing Randy in the showcase and offered Randy too. Oh. And so, Randy ended up signing before I did. I was still undecided, and Randy ended up signing before I did. Randy ended up persuading me to go ahead and sign. He called me, hey man, hey man, right? He has this hey guy, man, you need to go ahead and sign, bro. So I said, you know what? I got a little bit of Memphis there in El Paso with Randy, with Barbie, with Matlock. I said, hey, let's do it. And so from there, I think a lot of those Memphis guys that were back here in the city, to see me and Randy go out there and have some success, and be able to handle ourselves, and to be able to see Matlock and Barbie, do a good job coaching us and, getting us where we need to be. I think that kind of opened that pipeline a little bit from Memphis to El Paso. So you saw guys like Jason Jones and Arnett Moultrie and, all those guys start to come on down, because there was a little bit of us working to persuade those guys. Hey man, it ain't bad out here. You guys come on out here.
You guys will like it. Come on out here. Yeah. Like I was, last night I was doing some prep for this interview, and I was looking at the 2007 UTEP men's basketball roster. And one of my friends, Tyler Tafoya, is actually on that roster. Tyler, right, Wesley?
Tyler,
yeah.
I'm awful with names.
Right? No, him, Sebastian Christopher.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so, give me one second. Tyler, that's my guy.
Right.
Tyler, that's my boy, man. Tyler was always the fun of the team. Oh, man, he held it down. So it's like, anytime we needed a laugh, anytime we were going through anything, Ty was there, man, to,
right.
pick us up. It was a lot of times where in practice, we would kind of take Ty for granted. Like, we would leave him open, think, he's not going to make the shot. Ty would knock down some big shots, man. He was just doing some things, that kind of kept the team together. He was the glue a lot of time for the teams, and nobody even really knew it. So, his dad, had a smoothie joint there.
Right.
And again, you know, we every player of the team used to always go to the smoothie joint there before practice and get a smoothie. So again, the way Tyler and his family just took in everybody out of the UTEP family was just amazing.
Right.
You know, that's my boy. I love Tyler, man. That's my guy.
I think it was called Smoothie King, right?
Smoothie
I
King.
don't think it was Smoothie King. It was, you know, I think it was a little bit better than Smoothie King.
Okay.
I don't know what they put them. I don't know what they put in them smoothies.
But there were some good smoothies. Yeah. So I was like, what was interesting about that roster is the 2007 roster. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of you guys from Memphis. So it's you, Jeremy Williams, Myron Strong, Randy Culpepper, and Arnett Moultrie, all on the same team. That's pretty crazy. That's like almost half of the roster being recruited out of Memphis. So I thought that was really interesting. But another thing that is cool is that UTEP, unfortunately, hasn't had a lot of success as far as basketball wise since you guys left the program, Coach Barbie included. So it kind of sucks because I really like yearn and miss those like UTEP basketball days. I still go to the games.
I was just thinking right now, man, like this whole talk of basketball and him talking to us. I was like, dude, I miss going to watch these guys.
Yeah, right. That was
with my stepdad.
It was a solid team, dude. Derek Carter was on that team. Julian Stone, like some of those guys played in the league. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's a solid squad for UTEP standards. You know what I mean? We haven't had a squad.
We need to bring Memphis back over here, dude.
Yeah, we just need to collide Memphis permanently.
Yeah, dude. So I like how you said how when you got here and like you kind of were persuading these other kids to kind of like come and say, hey, it's not that bad. Come check out El Paso. Come check out UTEP. Were you guys pretty successful with that? And then like, why did like it end up like everything kind of like, I guess like falling apart with Coach Barbie? Like how did all that happen?
Well, you know, as far as other guys coming to El Paso, again, it's more so guys from Memphis just love hospitality. That's what we're used to. You know, we love, you know, being accepted, you know, and so it was kind of easy for us to kind of recruit Jay Will and Myron and Arnett, and you know, because we, you know, me and Randy, you know, again, we're good character guys, and you know, and again, Matlock, he's a good character coach, and so again, for you know, when you got guys like that, it's easier, you know, to make a move. You know, you could have said we would have been playing in Israel or Australia. You know, but if you got some guys on that team that have good character, they're good stand-up guys, you want to be around that. And if you know that they're, you know, they're pretty good ball players, you know, you wouldn't mind coming to, you know, play with that and make something special. And I think that's what that was. Like, you know, those guys knew about us, Myron, Jay Will, they knew about Randy. You know, they played AAU ball. Randy played at Sheffield. You know, those guys played at Hamilton. We played against each other high school wise. So, you know, for those guys to see us go out to El Paso, you know, it had to be something special and different. And so for them, you know, they were like, man, let's go see what that's about. And so from there, like I said, you know, once you get to El Paso, it's just different.
Yeah.
It has that whole West Coast, you know, feel. And if you're from the South, you know, it's just different. You don't mind doing it. And so, like I said, it made it a little bit easier for us to recruit those guys out there. And, you know, again, we knew what they were capable of before they came. And so, again, we knew that we were building a dream team and it was going to be something special.
Oh, yeah.
The El Paso community didn't know, but
right.
we did. And so, you know, again, you know, it's just like I said, it's about, you know, trusting of that brotherhood that you're forming there at the school, you know, trusting one another, knowing the abilities of one another and going from there. You know, so with Barbie, you know, I think, he had his success there in El Paso and brought in some great talent. You know, we did some good things for Barbie.
Oh, yeah.
I think he just got a better opportunity to go to Auburn. You know, he couldn't, you know, some coaches would say, nah, maybe you should have stayed, but anytime, somebody's offering you a better opportunity of more money financially, of course, you're going to think about it, so it'll be one of those decisions.
You got to think of a way to quit. You got to think of a way when you get a better opportunity like that, somebody's paying you more.
Yeah.
Like I would take time to think of how I'm going to quit my job.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that's the tough part is like getting away from like the old job and going for the new opportunity.
It's not really about like saying no or yes. It's like, it's a yes.
Yeah.
But it's just, how am I going to do it?
How do I break the news?
Right.
In the least awkward way, of course.
Right. So, and then he did what he had to do, I guess, to kind of, take care of his family, so
you gotta do.
Yeah. And then in Barbie's case, like, I mean, you guys were playing Conference USA. That's not a Power 5 conference in college athletics. So he got offered the head coaching job at Auburn, SEC school. So Power 5 conference, big deal to be playing teams like Kentucky, Alabama, like on your regular conference schedule. That's a huge deal. It's a big step up from UTEP and Conference USA. But one thing before we get to break, and I'll always remember being at this game, and you played in this game. And I remember being at this game because it was one of the first times that me and my girlfriend were like together and like posting it on Facebook and stuff. So it was like,
it was official.
It was official, right? And I remember it was 2011. It was the Conference USA championship game. It was a game. It started early on a Saturday morning, and the Don Haskins Center was fucking slam packed. It was loud. Memphis was playing UTEP for the championship. Memphis had just had their national championship year that were with Derrick Rose, and now Will Barton was on this team, and they were playing UTEP here. They ultimately won the game. Memphis did. UTEP lost, I think, by like 2 points, but it came down to the very end. I'll always remember that game. It was like one of the most memorable UTEP games I've ever been to. What do you remember about playing in that game, Gabe?
Man, we lost by 1 point. I'm gonna straighten that. I gotta straighten that one up. We lost by 1 point.
Hey, get the facts straight. Do it for me, please.
It still hurts, man. It still hurts. Christian Pope, that's my guy.
He balled out that game, bro.
He balled out that game, and it's a nightmare for him. It hurts him. All of the guys, I think, that played that game, it's still a nightmare for us, I would say, till this day. And I think it's more so that it's because the way we lost. We lost a 13-point lead, or we were up by like 13 points with like 5 or 6 minutes to go. So the way we lost that game was just, it's one of those things that makes you want to cringe a little bit, because we all feel that, man, we shouldn't have lost that game at home in front of the El Paso community, being up that big with 6 minutes to go. That can't happen.
Yeah, people don't forget. Look at Chris.
He's bringing it up.
Yeah,
9 years later.
I remember being at that game, dude, and it was such a big deal. And like, there hasn't been a UTEP game with that high of stakes since. That's literally the last time they were in a championship game. And, it was just a fucking memory that I'm always going to have. But continue with what you were saying.
Yeah, it was wild, man. I don't think being there the years I was there, I don't think I ever saw it that way. Which makes your nerves go, man, makes your emotions rise. I mean, for us to go on that court and see how packed that the Haskins was, it was, man, it was an adrenaline rush, and so again, you have to calm your own self down in the game, because again, you can get so caught up in the adrenaline rush, and you could possibly throw the ball over the backboard, if you're not really containing those nerves and stuff like that. So it was big for us. The lights came on, we were ready to show what we had, and I think it was us coming together as a brotherhood to try to do what we had to do for that game. So, but again, it hurts us all still. Jew, Randy. I think when Randy, when we lost, we all kind of shed a little tear. I think Randy might have shed a little tear. I think I might have shed a little tear. We all just were disgusted, by the way that we lost. Not to mention, we had just beat Memphis by 30 or something, maybe 2 weeks before.
Yeah.
So we were, we had just beat that same team by 30 points. And so in the tournament, we were like, oh man, this should be easy for us to go ahead and take this championship. And early on in that game, we felt the same way. We was like, yeah, we got this. We let's go ahead and, put our foot on their necks and take them out. And Chris Crawford, when Chris Crawford hit those threes, I think he might have hit about 2 or 3 threes, to bring them back in the game. And when he did that, man, we were like, oh shit, oh hell. So,
Yeah.
it was just one of those deals, man. Like I said, it still hurts, but we definitely were, proud to bring that winning tradition, back to the El Paso community.
Yeah, dude. Hell yeah. That shit was dope, dude. And it sucks. And like, I miss like the level of prestige that UTEP basketball was at. And then it makes it even worse that this year Baylor won a national championship. So we can't say that we're the only school in Texas with the national championship anymore. Yeah. But yeah, that was a great story. I really love hearing about that. And like getting to talk to you who actually played in that game. That's fucking badass. And to hear your side of it and what you guys were going through. I can only imagine how you guys felt losing that game, and because you guys were up and you had felt you guys were in control. And I mean, it was like a ride and it was like an emotional roller coaster essentially that you were.
Chris is fanboying a little bit.
Yeah, I am.
Chris was there on that game. And like he was just yelling like, Gabe, I'll see you in 10 years.
Chris was there with the 2 inflatable things, just like
be on my podcast that I don't have yet.
one day.
All right, guys. So we're coming up on the 37th minute mark. We're gonna go ahead and take a break here soon. But when we come back, we're gonna talk to our boy Gabe here about playing overseas because your basketball career didn't end here at UTEP. You took it overseas as but a lot of college athletes do when they try to go pro and see, if they can ever make it to the NBA. So we'll do that. We'll also talk to you about some of the things you miss about El Paso, ask you some questions about like the best places to eat here. And then we'll do 5 random questions and we'll wrap up this podcast. So with all that being said, guys, Conversing with Chris and Misa, the podcast, episode number 71, featuring a friend of the podcast, Mr. Gabriel McCulley. Go ahead and like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube channel and Apple Podcasts, leave a rating and a review. With all that said, we'll take this break and we will be right back.
Yo, what I do? Conversing with Chris and Misa, the podcast is sponsored by top quality and handcrafted products made by I&I Glass. I&I Glass products are blown here locally in the 915 and range in uses from pipes, pendants, jewelry, decorations, and even goddamn motherfucking hummingbirds and much, much more. So make sure you go and hit up our boy Aaron Lee at I&I Glass and tell him that your boys, Chris and Misa, sent you, all right? And you go and support a local El Paso business motherfucking today. All right. Thanks.
All right, guys, we are back from break. Episode number 71, Conversing with Chris and Misa, the podcast, featuring friend of the podcast, Mr. Gabriel McCulley. Guys, make sure you guys follow us on Facebook, like us on Instagram. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button on YouTube, guys. Please, we're already up to 226 subscribers. Let's try to get that closer to 300. We would really appreciate that.
300,000.
With all that being said, guys, I just want to thank Mr. Gabe for taking time out of his busy Saturday to join us here on the podcast all the way from Memphis, Tennessee. So go ahead and give him a triple horn. There you go. So, guys, we're going to get back into this podcast. We have some more things to talk about with Mr. Gabe. As we mentioned in the first half, you finished out your career at UTEP, and then eventually you decided to keep playing basketball, pursuing basketball, and it ended up with you going overseas to this little country called
Lithuania.
There you go.
Perfectly timed.
That was perfectly timed.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about that. How does that process even begin? Do you have like an agent right out of college? Is there somebody like telling you, hey, the draft is probably not like the best choice for you at the moment? I think we should look to maybe pursuing basketball overseas. Like who's helping you make
Dude,
these decisions?
I'm telling you, he did like what he did with UTEP. He threw a dart.
He did another dart.
Somebody take the darts away from this man.
Right.
He just keeps going all over the place.
I closed my eyes and just threw it. Hey, that's where I'm going.
Spin the glove and I'm gonna throw it.
That shit's funny. And actually it's crazy because those are two random places to go.
Oh yeah.
But how does that process start, or what is that like?
Man, you know what? It's crazy. It's crazy. For a kid that's never been through the process of transitioning from college to pro, in basketball from college to pro, it's an interesting process. Again, a lot of these just like from high school to college, you're gonna start having, agents, start to, recruit you, in a sense. Basically, they want to offer their services. So, you're gonna have a lot of agents, hey, I'm Mr. Chris Marquez. This is what I can do for you, sign with me, and so I had a lot of different agents that, wanted to represent me. But I think, again, it's about that trust thing, that loyalty, somebody who you can trust. So Coach Phil Johnson, who was, Tim Floyd's, right-hand man.
Right.
I came to his office one day and I said, Coach, he said, Gabe, you have an agent? And I said, no, not at the moment. I said, I got a few agents that's trying to represent me. He said, well, I got this guy, Mr. Rob, and I think he'll be good for you. I said, okay. And again, Johnson was just a guy that I trusted. And I said, okay, let's do it, Coach. And so he introduced me to a guy by the name of Rob from California, big time agent. He already had a few players, really good players on his under his belt and on his resume. And so I went with him. First deal he had for me again was Lithuania. Again, as far as NBA deals, I had some looks, but with my past recent injury list of things, again, they thought that I should try to go overseas first, get that under my belt, and then have a shot at maybe D League and then NBA. And so that was the direction. Went over to Lithuania, played for Juventus, club Juventus. They gave me the opportunity to play. Lithuania was just a different place, man. It was always cloudy, muggy, rainy. It was just scary. It was a weird place to be. What I will say is the people there were just, I guess what's the word for it? They were just free. You just see kids walking around and doing stuff any time of the day. Everything was walking distance. It was just kind of a older type of living. They dried their clothes and stuff on hangers and lines. It was a third world country. So
language do they speak over there? Is it Russian?
Well, it's Eastern European, isn't it?
Well, it's not that Eastern. No. It's like north of like Poland.
It's near Russia, though.
Well,
it's near Russia.
Yeah.
It's near Russia. But don't confuse them with the Russians.
Right. That's like that's disrespectful as hell to do.
No. I'm just saying
here. They'll come at your neck. I
know Russian.
It's like when people look at me, they're like, "You're from New Mexico, huh?" And I'm like, "What?"
No,
fucking crazy.
Yeah, no, but no, it was cool. The language there is kind of a little hard. They speak kind of hard. They have this hard,
right?
Speak when they speak. So, it was an adjustment for me again. A culture shock. Again, but I was used to it, so it was different. But I think El Paso, again, like you guys said before, going to El Paso was almost like playing ball overseas.
Right.
Yeah.
So for me, playing ball in Lithuania was just like me going to El Paso. It was like making an adjustment. But it was cool. Like I said, it was different. It was cool. It was different for sure.
Coming to El Paso kind of trained you to go overseas. You were already used to like the society shock.
Right. And trying to sit and get used to it. So like it kind of prepped them like, hey, now we're going to do this again. But now we're going to another country and another continent. How about that?
Now the plane ride is a little bit
longer. And you're going to cross the Atlantic Ocean.
Like, you're going to struggle to say the name of the place.
So yeah, I don't know if you guys have noticed, like I'm walking around saying that like, I don't want to have to say the name of the country because I'm going to butcher it. Because me and Misa were trying.
I've mastered it.
Me and Misa were trying this morning. And I was like, dude, you know, he went and played in Lithuania. And then he's like, what?
Chris, let's do this. All right. Repeat after me. Wania.
Okay.
Lithuania.
Cool. Nice. So what was the hardest, like the absolute hardest part about like transitioning to life over there? Was it like not knowing like what it like? I'm assuming the food was totally different. So like to me that would be a big deal because it's like, what are you going to eat that you're going to actually enjoy?
Did you have to go hunt for your food out there?
Tatankas out there?
You know what? I wouldn't even say it was the food. It was more the grind for me. The food again was good, man. It was
really? Nice.
Yeah, it's crazy. The food was good. It wasn't anything abnormal. It was, you know, they had your basic foods, your fried foods and things of that nature,
we're good.
Real foods and things of that nature. All that stuff kind of is the same.
It wasn't
so, now what I will say is they were Europeans, they do a lot of their drinks and stuff naturally. So they had a lot of, natural drinks that I kind of, fell in love with, from fresh fruits and stuff like that.
Did they have the warm beers over there?
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, that's a European thing. Is they love their beers like room temperature.
Oh,
yeah.
Which is just me at the end of the party looking for like the last beer left in the house.
Yeah, somebody left out. Oh,
it's like, I hate this, but I just want to keep getting drunk. That's how I feel. But that's just European. So.
Yeah. I think that, man. I think that the hardest part over there was just. In Lithuania, the hardest part was, I think that the grind, man, of becoming a pro, the grind of becoming a pro, man, the tour days and, the drills that they had us doing during the tour days and stuff like that, man. It was, the grind was crazy for me. And then being able to, get up the next day and do it all over again. Nobody, in college, you had your coaches checking in, your assistant coaches checking in and stuff like that. Man, at pro level, you got to do it. Either you're going to do it or they're going to send you home, one of the two.
Was it what you expected? Or did you whenever you thought about it, that, it would be a lot easier or how did you go into it thinking of?
You see overseas basketball on TV and you just think that, man, it's the glory days, but for a lot of people, man, and I can't say this for everybody. Everybody's experience overseas is different, but for a lot of players, there's some adjustments you definitely have to take into account. Like it's not something that you really want to do every year. You gotta. It's a sacrifice. So again, like I said, guys like Randy Culpepper can tell you, going over there every year, man, you're like kind of thinking like, man, I don't know if I want to go back over there this year, so it's just, like I said, it's a sacrifice. It's a grind, going over there for 8 years to, make your money and come on back, so like I said, it's a language barrier. You don't have all the resources and help that you probably would have here in the States. It's just a little different. It's a little different. Each situation is a little bit different too.
A lot of people don't like know about overseas like basketball. Right. I was personally just curious, like how is the talent over there compared to what here in the States?
Well, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was like, over there, you're playing with some boys out there, bro. You're playing with some real ass fucking men out there.
I'm not familiar with overseas or anything like that, so I want to know like what the difference is.
So think about it. Like in the NBA, there are like every year a good handful, like a dozen, maybe more. Players that are drafted from overseas, mostly from Europe, some from like Turkey, some from like South America. But like the thing is when you're playing pro over there, like they don't really have collegiate ball. You know, so like over there, it's like if you're playing pro, you can ball. You can handle yourself
because they put their whole life into it, right?
And so Gabe's walking into a situation where these are grown ass professionals playing ball now. And now you're not playing with like these kids that you played AAU tournaments with. Like these are hardened professionals.
That's
interesting. It's a whole nother fucking level.
I didn't even know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a different dynamic. It's a different dynamic, man. You stepping on a court with guys that muscles are probably bigger than your head. You got guys with faces full of hair. I mean, it's just it's a different dynamic, and you got to hold your own. It's almost, again, being on the court is like being in the jungle. You got to get in there and do what you got to do to hold your own, man. I mean, whatever you got to do to score your points or get your rebounds, you got to do it in the realms of the line.
Was there any other players from the States in your team?
I had a guy, Derek Leonard. Derek Leonard, he was from Chicago. Really good basketball player. He's a guard, combo guard. He made my time there a little bit more welcoming also. He kind of, introduced me to Lithuania because he had played there 2 or 3 years before I did. Yeah. So Derek's a good guy. He was a good guy to learn from, man. And like I said, Lithuania was just different. It was just different. It was adjustments. So
how do you say it, Chris?
No, I'm not gonna do it.
Lithuania. I just taught you, man. Come on.
Yeah, it's hard, bro.
Lithuania.
I get stuck. I get stuck somewhere between the Lith and the Uwania.
There, you said it.
Right. I catch I just said it right there.
Accidentally. He's like, I get stuck between the Lith and Uwania.
So if you had to pinpoint one moment in your career, like either collegiate or professional, what would you say was your most satisfying moment playing basketball?
Man, I'm gonna give you a couple. I'm gonna just say us winning the conference 2010, to be a part of that winning season, I think it was something to remember. The love that we got from that city, I mean, was just off the charts. For us to go to different clubs and not even have to pay and walk in and just, everybody just showing us and embracing us that love. Man, after that conference championship that we won, I think it took us 45 minutes to get off the court. And then it took us another, hour and a half to get home because of the traffic outside. So it was just, I think that was something, that I had never seen before. That experience was, an amazing experience, something that I'll never forget. And I think I was able to share that with the city of El Paso, and that was something that was very special for me. I think my transition to Japan, playing in Japan after Lithuania, was big. I think my time in Japan was really, eye-opening and big for me also. So I think, during that time, during my career, those were 2 big events for me.
I could just imagine, being in a game like that, hundreds of people watching you,
thousands of
people watching you, and then, it's just feeling all that, hearing the crowd and dude, to even be even being on the crowd, like Chris says, Chris remembers, being there, but now imagine being the player, dude. I'd probably have a panic attack and pass out. And then,
it's crazy. It's crazy, man. But at the same time, it's all love, and that's what's good. It's all love, and to be able to embrace El Paso and El Paso embrace us. It's a beautiful and special thing, and it, and like I said, for a kid to experience that, or anybody to experience that, really, is just something that to be fortunate and be thankful for, something that you can take for a lifetime. So, again, it's something that you can talk to your kids about, and kind of, maybe, show them some of the way. But yeah, that's something I never forget.
Dude, all this, dude, is I made up my mind, guys. I'm gonna go be a walk-on in UTEP basketball.
Hey, good luck, bro. Good
Number
luck.
23.
They need some help right now, man. You can
Yes,
probably
sir.
call.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, they need help, but this guy's not going to do them any help at all.
Well, you know
Just
what?
as much as me.
I might be a little. I don't know, dude. Yeah.
So I'm sure, Gabe, I'm sure you heard the news of Rodney Terry leaving UTEP. He was
Yep.
the current head coach. He stepped down, accepted a new position with University of Texas, the Longhorns.
Yep.
Obviously, you know, we talked about it with coaches moving. Like they do what they got to do. Like with Barbie's case, with Mr. Terry's case. So I you know, you don't blame them for moving on and wanting to do better or go back to a program where they had been, which is Terry's case. So with that being said, is there any sort of like shot that you would ever like have interest of coming back to UTEP, but being on the staff in any sort of like role?
Man, I'm going to say this. You know, I wanted to actually come back after my stint in Japan. You know, I was in talks at the time. Floyd at the time. Floyd was the coach, and you know, it just didn't work out. I think at that time he went with Braswell, and he went with I think as the director of ops. I think he went with I forgot Eustace's son or someone related to Eustace as the director of ops. And so, you know, it just was bad timing, I guess, at that time. You know, opportunity just kind of slid through the cracks there, and coming back and working for Floyd. I wanted that opportunity, but it just didn't happen. And so again, I just followed the program. You know, again, I continued to be hopeful, but it never happened. I stayed in contact with Bob Stoll. You know, he knew that I wanted to come back. You know, I talked to him multiple times. I talked to, you know, people over at the Brumbelow building. Everybody kind of knew that I wanted to come back. I would say maybe 5 years ago. Here we are 5 years later, and it hasn't changed. I still would love to come back. You know, even with Rodney Terry, I didn't really get a chance to talk to him or meet him, but I would have loved to come back and help him and his staff. You know, I haven't had an opportunity to just come out there and reside, but again, I think at some point, if I have to do that, I'm going to do it because I really want to help the UTEP family. And so again, like I said, you know, I just haven't had the opportunity, you know, to come back. And like I said, you know, with Rodney Terry vacancy, I'm hoping the next coach that comes in will consider me to come and help the staff out. You know.
Yeah, that's why he's on this podcast. We're going to promote Mr. McCulley as a possible candidate for
Absolutely.
a position within the staff for the next UTEP mindset.
Get it trending, bro.
You know
We're
what I
gonna
mean?
get this rolling.
That's what
I
we're
think so.
vote for
Here
Gabe.
Because I do want to go to a UTEP basketball game.
Well, I mean, like first off, we want to rebuild the program to where they're in a position where they're bringing in like good players, high profile players, and competing in these games. I mean, this year they beat Arizona. Like UTEP team beat Arizona. It's just like it was at the beginning of the season, and they got into conference play. Conference USA had some good teams. North Texas was pretty dominant all year. They even did well in the tournament. So I think for Mr. McCulley, it's the opportunity now of a new start, a new page here at UTEP, and trying to lay the foundation of saying, hey, I want in on this at any capacity so that I can help rebuild the program that helped him become the person that he is today. So I think that's really cool. Give him a round of applause for that.
Thanks, guy. Thanks. Yeah, I think some of the candidates, you know, Greg Foster and Tim Hardaway, you know, a lot of those guys, me and Greg, I've talked to Greg on multiple occasions. So, you know, a lot of those guys that who are in the candidate pool, a lot of those guys know I would love to come back. So I think it's just a matter of, you know, just making that be known and putting that out there in the El Paso community, and just letting those guys know that I would love to come back. And I don't think it'll be a problem or a big, you know, deal of me not. I think again it'll be good for me to come back. So I'm just waiting on that opportunity and call.
Oh yeah, dude. And I speak on behalf of myself and all UTEP minor fans, we would love to have you back on the staff.
I think all
Definitely.
El Paso.
Yeah, because I
Everybody.
think El Paso is a different city when the UTEP basketball team is buzzing. Even when the football team is buzzing, we haven't buzzed since like the year 2000. But anyways, for basketball, like it has such a tradition in the city that when UTEP basketball is good, the whole city like profits from it. So, you know what I mean? So yeah, shout out to you, Gabe. So let's transition to a lighter note here. We've talked a lot of basketball today, obviously, with having a former professional player on. You're going to talk a lot of basketball. It only makes sense. But we wanted to kind of get to know you a little bit more. So like when you were in El Paso, what were the things that you like to do? Where did you like to like go eat and hang out?
Man, I was in the gym, or we used to go to different little nightclubs. 101 or 102.
101, hey.
Yeah, we had that, and it was just different places that we would go and enjoy our times. We had the country club there on the west side.
Oh yeah,
that we would go and hang out at.
Wes's house.
Yeah, it's basically.
Yeah. Wes lives near the country club. He grew up right there, like across the street from the country club.
Yeah, and then I moved out and then lived like, I don't know, half a mile away from the country club. It just draws me in. It's like a monolith. I'm like, oh, yeah, I have to stay here.
So you guys got to hang out there, and like, did you have like a favorite place to like grab some food at?
Man, a lot of the as far as the Latina, food options, a lot of that was more so home. I like eating at different, donors' homes. It was authentic cooking, and so a lot of what they would cook at home. I never really restaurant wise. We were eating Whataburger, things of that nature on campus. Stuff like that. But as far as restaurants and stuff like that, we're really eating more so at donors' houses and things like that. To kind of
cook meals.
What about Chico?
Yeah, some of those home cooked authentic meals were good.
But what about Chico's? And did you ever?
I think I may have had Chico's maybe one time. I think I may have had Chico's maybe one time, and again, it was an acquired taste,
No, absolutely. I'm right there with you. Like it's just a question when it comes to El Paso,
right? And I'm sure that night or that time you went to Chico's was probably after a night at the club. So I'm assuming
probably more than likely, for sure. I never had a chance to go to the Derby. I heard a lot about the Derby, when it was popping, but I never had a chance to go to the Derby.
Oh yeah, dude, that's what's up. Yeah, I mean. Yeah. El Paso has like a lot of, and it's interesting for you, like being a player, like how you said, like the donors would make you guys food and stuff. So that's cool. But I think whenever you come back to EP, you got to hit us up. We'll take you to some good restaurants here. Obviously, I'm sure you've been around, but we'll really show you around El Paso, because me and Misa are born and raised here. So is Wes. So if anybody knows the city, we know the city.
I wasn't born here, but I was raised.
Okay, great. You could have just gone with it, Wes.
I'll even take you to my mama's house.
Look at me.
Look at me.
It's been a while, guys. It's been a while. In El Paso, again, I know has changed tremendously since I've been there. So again, I think it's time, again, it shouldn't have gone this long, but it's time for me to come home. It's time for me to rekindle, everything that, we had and done before. And I'm ready. I'm ready to come back.
The city's waiting for you.
We're waiting. And Randy Culpepper's still out here. He actually has a street named after him now, which is pretty cool. Yeah. So next I can see Gabriel McCulley Lane being put up somewhere. New housing.
I'll buy a house on that street.
On that street. Yeah, there you go, dude. So
you said it on camera. You have to do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold you to it.
It's a mortgage now.
Yeah, we still have to edit all this shit. So we'll see how it turns out.
All right, guys. So let's transition towards the back end of the podcast here. Misa, do you know what time it is? Wesley, do you know what time it is?
Dude, I don't know, but I have a question.
What's your question?
Oh, sorry, Wes. It's time for the 5 random questions here at Conversing with Chris and Misa, the podcast hosted by your boy, Chris Marcus.
Yo. What is up, everyone? We are back with another edition of 5 Random Questions. This time we have friend of the podcast, the official basketball player of the podcast, Mr. Gabriel McCulley, with us here. All right, guys. So I have 5 random questions. I just need to know, are you guys ready? Wes, are you ready for this?
Baba Booey.
Misa, are you ready?
Always.
Gabriel, are you ready for 5 random?
Man, let's do it.
Let's go. Okay, Mr. Gabe, question number 1. What song do you most associate with your childhood?
Ooh.
That's a good one. That's a banger.
Tough one. Right off the bat. I can't even think of one right off the bat, man. And it's just.
I got mine. We can go around the room. I got mine.
Yeah.
What's yours?
Okay, mine is "My Heart Will Go On" by Celine Dion. Bro, that Titanic movie was the best shit I've ever seen.
It's the best 4 hours of all time.
Right, especially when you're like 10 or 11, whatever. Misa, do you have a song from your childhood?
Yeah, it's that I love candy.
There you go.
I love you now.
Mine is Locomotion, like going
Yeah.
to like the roller derby,
Right.
like the roller rink, and then going around and hear, ooh, a locomotion. But that was me.
Do the locomotion with me. There you
That
go.
was me. That's the first thing that came to my mind.
Did one pop in your head there, Mr. Gabe?
Man, I'm thinking maybe Shining Stars, man. Shining Stars, what they play on the NCAA tournament when they're showing the, was it Shooting Stars or Shining Stars?
There you go. There you go. Right. Whatever you associate with your childhood is the correct answer to this. So question number 2, Mr. Gabriel McCulley. Do you believe in aliens? Why or why not?
Man, no, well.
Hey, that's
I don't believe in aliens, man. I don't think, we have any strange activity going on up there, No, I don't think so.
Okay. So
you got to see to believe, I guess.
I believe in aliens, but I don't think they've been here. Like
Right.
if the fact that like one world just like generated into like an evolved like culture. No, it's probably happened like galaxies
Right.
away, and they just don't know how to get here.
Right. Who knows?
Yeah.
No, I could be an alien.
Chris, you are.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's technically aliens, so they found life on Mars, like preserved in fossils.
Right.
Like when they brought rocks back, they found like little amoebas and stuff like that.
I think
that
those
like,
were just other humans.
yeah,
Yeah.
because that's how
Probably.
during Greek times we jumped up in the sky, reached Mars.
You never know, dude. Okay, question number 3, guys. Mr. McCulley, if you were to win the lottery, what would be your very first move?
That's good.
Man.
Go to Lithuania.
Buy El Paso?
Well, I think, coming from off the court, a lot of what I've done is business off the court.
Right.
So what I've learned is, it takes money to make money.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
the first thing I would do is, invest a lot of that money, half of it, some of it, 20% of it, and then the rest of it, man, I just try to, help as many people as possible. Because my thing is when you're helping people, man, it really comes back in all type of ways and fashion and forms.
I feel
And
that.
so when you're taking care of people, people are going to take care of you.
Right.
And so, man, I take, that's the political answer.
Yeah,
But
that's a
for
good
me,
answer, though.
Dude,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
his answer is making me feel shitty because of what I was thinking, what I would do.
Well, let's hear it. Let's hear your answer.
I'd just move away.
Yeah.
Abandon everyone. He'd be like, see you guys. I don't know any of you.
Yeah,
I'm a
I'm out.
millionaire. Screw y'all.
He's just like, I love El Paso. Oh, is that $1 million? Bye, El Paso.
Oh, Paso, what?
That's a good
Yeah,
answer.
you-
man.
Yeah.
You give me $1 million, I'm gonna take about 40,000, 50,000 invested and see what I can do with the rest of it to help somebody out.
Hey,
you
Wes,
go.
do me a favor. Write that shit down,
Yeah,
please.
write that down. Invest money so you
Okay.
can have residual income and
There
make
you
your
go.
money make you money. Okay.
Yeah.
We don't
There
use
you
paper.
go. There
We
you
don't
go.
use paper. I'm just so white we can just write on my hands.
Right.
So,
All right, question number 4, Mr. McCulley. And I think this is a good question because I'm sure as growing up in athletics and going to college and playing ball and then going overseas, I'm sure you've had a lot of advice given to you. So what's the best piece of advice that anyone has ever given to you?
Man, never give up. Stay encouraged. Be patient. Again, everything happens with time. Rome wasn't built in a day.
Hey.
Just stay diligent, man. Just stay consistent, stay diligent, stay patient, keep God first.
Hey,
Damn,
there you
dude.
go. That was a good one right there.
what about you?
The best piece of, or I would say the best piece of advice that I've ever fucking received is like, I know it's cliche, but it really is like, whatever you want, like you can do it. You just have to fucking put in the time. That's what it is. Like, no matter what it is, like just work your ass off. And it sucks because like doing something like a podcast, right? Like me and Misa have done 71 episodes.
Yeah.
But like, I remember doing like the first 14 episodes by myself, like
In a
fucking
garage.
struggling in a garage.
Yeah.
And like now we're in a studio, like and we have a former basketball player on, like, you know what I mean? But it literally took like working fucking hard every single day.
Consistency, man.
And consistency to get here. So like, to me, that's the best piece of advice and the truest piece of advice I could ever give someone.
What about you, Misa?
The best advice anybody ever told me was my dad. And he said, don't be a bitch.
There you go.
Mine would
That's
be
some good advice, Misa.
That is.
Oh, yeah.
That's good advice,
Yeah.
man.
And you know
Don't-
what? And I think about it, like I wake up tired and I'm like, maybe I should call in. And then I think about what my dad said, don't be a bitch.
Dude,
and then I
it,
get up.
works with
Yeah, I go
almost
to work.
it works with like almost every
Yeah,
situation.
dude.
Right.
It does.
But
It does. It
my-
does, man.
mine is kind of like dating based. It's I was told don't ever try and date a damsel in distress because you
Whoa.
won't get a princess, you'll get a damsel in distress.
Wow.
Hey.
Wow. That's a
Wow.
good one.
So that's something that's always stuck with me.
I don't even know what that means.
Damsel in distress. It's somebody who like don't go for the
Right.
people that have problems, like
Right.
that are expressing their problems, like,
Right.
oh, save me, because you're not going to get the princess out of
Right.
it. You're going to get like somebody that's
Yeah.
always like, save me.
Yeah. So his favorite song should be that J. Cole song that says, don't save her. She don't want to be saved. Don't save her. That's his anthem right there.
It belongs in the streets.
Last question, Mr. McCulley. Question number 5. Let's get some music, Misa. Last question. 5 random questions. This one's number 5.
This is always a weird one.
All right. So actually, this one's not weird that weird this
Oh.
time. Mr. McCulley, if me and Misa and Wesley ever find ourselves in Memphis, Tennessee, what is the best place to go eat at?
Oh, man. So many places. Man, just come to the house, man. We'll take care. Come to the McCulley. Come to the McCulley's resident. We're going to do it big. We got a party.
Yeah.
We're going to have barbecue. We got everything.
Damn, that's okay. That's what I was hoping that it was going to be something barbecue related. I love barbecue food.
Oh, yeah.
Like that shit is.
Yeah.
And I know over there in Memphis and Tennessee and Nashville, you guys know how to get down over there. I've heard.
They like a little spice too. And I
they like
love spicy. I love spicy.
Yes,
so
sir.
Put a
Hey,
little
Chris,
spice in that barbecue.
Barbecue should be your middle name.
Right. Christopher Barbecue.
Hey.
I like it.
The question is always asked, what's the best barbecue place here in Memphis, man? And it's always, someone's house, man. It's someone's home. It's not really a restaurant. They're gonna give you the general deal of barbecue. Man, the people at the house, they gonna put it together for you. They gonna give you all the extra meat and grease and stuff you need.
Well, it's kind of like here, like, when you want some like carne asada or some tacos, you could go to a restaurant, it's good, but go to my grandma's house on a Sunday.
Right.
God bless.
Right.
Like I think all restaurants really just need to get like a home like oven and then just make the food and like home styled, because
Every restaurant should
is.
just hire their grandma.
You could literally make the same food from a restaurant in a home, but the minute it's done in a home,
It tastes better.
it's like MSG has been spread all over it. 'Cause it tastes so much better.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, those were the 5 random questions, guys, with our boy, Mr. Gabriel McCulley. Let's get ready to wrap up the podcast today. Let's go around the virtual Zoom meeting here, give our final thoughts, and we will wrap this up. Wesley, final thoughts on today's podcast.
Absolute ton of fun, especially this early in the morning. And it was super interesting to hear like his experiences, Gabe, like everything like overseas and everything like that. It's been an absolute pleasure to sit here and hear your stories.
Hell yeah, Wesley. Thank you for that. Misa, final thoughts.
Mr. Gabe, man, it's been a pleasure. I know we've been trying to get you a few times before. I'm glad it happened now, man. Your story is incredible. I love what you're doing now. I really got to, take my hat off to you for that. And I'm
Wes, the one with the hat.
Wes.
So I'll take it off.
There you go. But again, Wes, thanks, man. It's always fun to have you around. Chris. Hell yes, Chris. Always a good one. I want to say, Gabe, I want to wish you the most success. I want to wish you well health. And hopefully one day we could see you here at UTEP again. And that would be the day that
absolutely
that I'll try out. But
I think he has you beat if he ever comes back. Like if he ever comes back, you have no chance.
There's a lot of stuff I got to do, and I'm a man of my word.
Man, we'll get in the gym, man. We'll get in the gym.
Yeah. But everybody watching and listening, guys, thank you very much for the support. You guys make sure to stay safe and stay fresh.
Mr. Gabe, final thoughts on today's podcast.
Man, I want to say, man, I appreciate you guys having me on. Sorry it took a minute. Definitely trying to get some things together. But I look forward in coming back. Memphis is where I was born and raised, but I think El Paso, again, I said this a while back, El Paso made me the man I am today. And so again, I love the people of El Paso. I still talk to a lot of people there in El Paso all the time. And so again, there are plans being made for me to come back, and I can't wait. And so again, like I said, for you guys to have me on this morning, it was a lot of fun. We're able to lift my spirits for the day. But again, you guys, that's what El Paso does for me. So again, I think this is just foreshadowing of what's to come. And like I said, I look forward to it.
Hey man, this podcast has been so good. I forgot it was early in the morning. Dude.
If it wasn't for the sun behind me making me glow like a sun right now,
it just made me realize I got all fucking day to take care of and shit. I was like, oh, I thought my day was pretty much over.
No, it's just started a full day of work ahead of us.
Hey, good way to start a day.
We're all at full energy now.
Hell yeah.
So.
Well, hell yeah, Mr. Gabe. Thank you for being on for sure. I know we tried, like you said, a few times, but obviously I understand, dude. I mean, everyone's busy. Like we're trying to schedule podcasts, like people, sometimes they have time, sometimes they don't. So no worries about that. That's why I always kept hitting you up. I was like, I knew eventually we would pull this together, and it took a Saturday morning, but hey, you know what? We got to do what we got to do.
It's consistency, man.
And it was just like, for me, like, being such a big fan of UTEP basketball, having that instilled in me from my dad, like the chance to have a former UTEP player on the pod for me was like a big deal in my mind. And I just want to thank you for taking your time and being on the podcast with us. I had a great time today. Oh, yeah. Give him a round of applause, Misa.
Hey Chris, and my thing is, man, if you want some other guy, like Randy and some other, I talk to Randy and Jew and Christian and all those guys all the time, and maybe we can possibly get on together, with a lot of guys, maybe 3 or 4 guys, and us kind of, all kind of share our stories and talk about, our time, with this open, vacancy coming up, with the UTEP staff. So, like I said, I talked to Christian maybe a couple days ago. Julian is kind of going through a hardship right now with the passing of his father. Yeah. Randy is kind of, I talked to Randy too. So, again, I still talk to those guys, and again, I'll try to reach out to them to see if we can kind of get something together, here on this podcast, give you guys a little of our stories and stuff like that.
Yeah, man, as long as it's not in the morning anymore. Just kidding, man.
Yeah, don't listen to me. So yes, definitely that's a great idea. Thank you for even coming up with that. I would love to have you guys on again to tell your stories, to even go back and just recap the memories you have of these games that you guys played in, being on the team, the unity that you guys created. It would be great. It would be so cool to hear those stories.
It's like a reunion, man.
Dude,
Right, it's like
honestly,
a reunion.
Honestly, the stories I was listening to like today, like I was just like zoned in.
It's crazy,
the
dude.
entire time. They're so interesting.
But yeah,
Wes is gonna try playing basketball today.
No, dude, I tried out for basketball in high school, but I didn't make it.
Yeah. But yeah, Gabe, like, thank you for that. Thank you. That's a generous offer. Let's definitely let's keep in touch. We'll get something together, and obviously you'll have an open invite to the podcast whenever you'd like. We would always welcome you on for sure with open arms. So thank you again, guys. Like I said, Gabe, thank you for spending time with us today. Mr. Wesley, thank you for producing Misa once again. Another good episode. Give Mr. McCulley one final round of applause. And with all that being said, guys, episode number 71, Conversing with Chris and Misa, the podcast. Make sure you guys are following us on Facebook, liking us on Instagram, subscribing to our YouTube channel, Apple Podcasts, leave a rating and a review. With all that being said, guys, we are...